Paths to Contemplation by Yves Lagoon, Jesuit. Paths, Part 1, Chapter 6, From Meditation to Contemplation. Most treatises on the spiritual life recommend a form of prayer called meditation as being the most suitable for the beginner. The essence of meditation is reflection on truths of which the soul must be deeply convinced if it wishes to make progress in the love of God. The soul must first gain knowledge, which will enable it to spread its wings in other forms of prayer, richer in content but less easily categorized. Methods of meditation teach the soul how to reflect on the truths of Christianity, examine them from all angles, and connect them with each other in order to strengthen their power of convincing to the mind. Methods of meditation are a great help for souls who need to reflect, to weigh, to measure, and to organize their faith. But only too often books on meditation are excessively methodical and full of closely reasoned, well-organized and meticulously subdivided lists of considerations. It is common knowledge that many souls go from point to point, from paragraph to paragraph, striving to extract the maximum profit from each idea as they conscientiously try to put in the time allotted to meditation. But the fact cannot be hidden that often too much method ties the soul down and stops it from making progress. Meditation is then no longer so much a means of finding God as an exercise. Now, the object of meditation should never be the text itself, but rather the truth or the mystery which the text expresses. And above all, it should be God, whom the truth expresses and whose inner life the mystery reveals. The time of meditation ought to be a time of reflection in prayer, under the gaze of God. There should be no question of studying, but of grasping the inner nature of the mysteries with the help of the divine light. For example, you can think over the various aspects of the mystery of the Holy Trinity and try to understand what the persons are in their relationship with each other and with the divine nature. But such a reflection should be made in prayer, in a continuing act of faith that opens up the mind to the unknowable. The mystery of the Trinity can be understood only on the plane of faith, and it is therefore from this plane that God's light descends and must be received by our human faculties. In meditation, the mystery takes on a coherence that it did not have before, being thus meditated on in this divine light. Now the divine life allows itself to be perceived by the mind, and it is this that gives meditation its true meaning. The mystery takes on a consistency which brings with it a testimony to the reality of the mystery. Calm meditation on the mysteries in the light of faith will strengthen that faith by rendering the mind's acceptance of these mysteries more profound. Although the Holy Trinity will remain a mystery, this mystery will find in faith a coherence so luminous that the mind must necessarily accept it. The contradictions that a Muslim finds in the Christian teaching of one God in three persons will no longer cause any difficulty for one who meditates in faith. Even more, the mystery of the Trinity gives the key to all the fundamental problems of human destiny. The Church took centuries to evolve a coherent expression of the scriptural references to the Trinity. Christ did not give the apostles a scientific treatise on the question, but simply allowed them, and us, to glimpse his place in the Trinity and his vital relationships with the other persons. He revealed the inner life of the Trinity, and this was the light that made the formulation of the mystery possible. And it is by means of this formulation that the Christian soul can ascend to the very life of God. By examining the words of Christ and the teaching of the Church in the divine light, the soul places itself in the current of the divine life that comes from the Trinity and ascends toward the Trinity. When you are meditating, you must not rest in your own thoughts, but raise yourself at every moment to the plane of the divine thoughts. It matters little whether you read a book while allowing the thoughts it inspires to well up one after the other, or whether you meditate without using a book, but by following the thread of thought suggested by the mystery you are meditating on. Whichever you do, the raw material of your meditation remains the same, namely, a series of words that speak to you about the mystery. You advance from thought to thought, but your mind is attentive in an act of faith to another train of thought that is being developed on the plane of faith. If you are reading, you are doing so on the two planes simultaneously with one glance, grasping the material in depth, savoring it and nourishing yourself on it. It is from the mysterious knowledge thus derived that your soul draws its strength, and you will soon be able to enter into the greater intimacy with God. The basis of meditation is a kind of reasoned contemplation, more regimented and structured than mystical contemplation. There is also a form of prayer which does not bring into play the faculty of reasoning or intellectual reflection to so great an extent, but rather uses man's ability to see, understand, sense, and even touch spiritual realities. And this is already a form of contemplation. Sometimes the soul takes naturally to this form of prayer from the moment it begins to search for God, and cannot pray in any other way. It does not need considerations, reflection, or reasoning, but sees and tastes and can act in no other way. Other souls arrive at this point only after they have practiced meditation for a long time. A day comes when they no longer have any relish for the meditations that have nourished them up to this. Henceforth, they are content to taste a truth, to savour it, and they can remain for days and even weeks completely taken up by the same mystery. They have now entered the way of contemplation and should be allowed to remain there and make progress in peace.